Oh, hi there. Hello and welcome to Hops and Bros.
It's gonna be a craft beer 101 this week, and Max kind of took me off with that weird intro and that he whips his hair back and forth, and he doesn't even sing a song about it because
That is such an old school reference, bro.
I know.
Anyways, Craft Beer 101.
Craft 101 on refrigeration. Cheers, guys. Keep it cool.
For an open window on the craft beer world, Max and Chris from Ups and Ups and Welcome to Ups and Bros. Yeah.
Alright, so what do you like about your beer? A lot of things.
Yeah, all the flavors in there, and pretty much all the nice songs you're listening about it. Are we now
There's
a
that
music
Canadian,
show?
Wait, there's that. Oh my god. We reference music so often.
Often.
And are wrong so often. Oh, by the way.
Oh, yeah, gotta make those all mics and
Usually
camera syncs.
I'd wait till the end of the video,
Yeah.
but we tend to forget.
We always forget.
So,
just always.
You know, it's breaking the fourth wall here. You know what we do behind the scenes.
Yeah.
By the way, let us know in the comments below if you would like to see a behind the scene episode.
Ooh, that would be
So,
interesting.
like, seeing our equipment, how we record, maybe have, like, another person record us while we're filming an episode, like, something really, like, fourth
breaking
wall
the fourth
breaking.
wall
Yeah.
the whole way through.
It'd be interesting. I would like to do that, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys would like to see.
Yeah. So put it down in the comment below. What would you like to see? But first, the episode.
Yeah, refrigeration,
today.
as you saw
Yeah.
in the intro.
In the intro.
One thing that's really important with beer is to have it cold, at least
Yeah.
for some kinds. Other
Exactly.
kinds, you want a little warmer, like your stouts and stuff like that. You can go get away with a little warmer beer. But for your IPAs, for your lagers, for your pilsners,
Yeah.
you want something cold.
You want cold, but you gotta balance out those Celsius or Fahrenheit that you're putting out in this fridge. And today we're going to go a little bit more in depth into this really cool subject.
So,
Cool.
1,000. Oh my god, I did not even realize that that's what you were saying.
Come on, that was super cool.
I was concentrating on something else, like how I was going to start my next sentence.
Yeah.
You
Forgot my really bad pun.
the daddest pun I've ever
I know.
heard. Okay, so on this note,
this
so
note.
1,000 years BC, China.
Before Chris.
Before. Oh my god, that's twice.
I know.
Twice in a fucking row, bud. Sorry, Dad. So, 1000 BC, there's records of China using ice and using snow to be able to cool different things.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of vague because it is ancient history at this point. Now, a little bit after in the other Egyptians and Jewish communities, we've
Yeah.
heard of that being used as well. Medieval times, same thing. Even the Romans. So, little known fact about me, I actually took history for a couple years before I switched to advertising.
Which is why Max is doing the historic part.
Usually, yeah, that's why I like doing the historic part. And one thing I learned is that the Romans loved cooled beverages. So they would go north of Italy and a little bit further out to bring snow back to be able to cool their wine and cool their different beverages for their parties and stuff like that. Now, you must remember that ancient Rome at that point were, I guess, self-sufficient enough that they could afford things like that.
Yeah, like fridges made out of snow.
A little bit. Yeah, they would compact snow and ice in hay, and then they would transport it through that. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so 1800s is where we're jumping. We're jumping far ahead in history at this
From
point.
1,000 years BC to
To the 1800s. So at that
That's
point,
a bunch of years.
what was usually used was an ice box. Now, if you know, the concept of an ice box is like a refrigerator, except you had ice in it to keep things cold. So they had some sort of coolant, which was the ice, and they had a couple different foam layers or whatever layers to be able to keep the cold inside of the ice box. Now, it was really complicated because the only time you had ice was in the wintertime, and it was in the north. So if you go south, you didn't have any ice.
And you actually had like ice deliveries.
Yes.
So a guy with like a big
Frederick Tudor
wooden thing.
was actually the first, or one of the first, to commercialize
For real?
ice. Yeah, to
shit.
commercialize ice
Oh,
deliveries.
damn.
Now, it was mostly in the south of the States and in the Caribbean. So basically, with the years, he created different ways to be able to keep the ice from 66% loss to 8% loss.
Wow,
by
that's
using
good.
insulation and different things like that. He's also one of the first to create the concept of an ice house.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard the ice house.
No, not at all. No.
So you were in California recently.
Yeah.
In LA, there's a comedy club called the Ice House, which was actually an ice house before. So it was a place where you would keep the ice in, and then people would come in, buy ice for their ice boxes. That was the 1800s. 1825 is when he started, at a loss for a couple of years, then until it became very popular in the States, and I'm assuming also in Canada. Also, I'm not really familiar with the ice history in Canada for some reason.
It's pretty much the same thing because from what I remember on my part, I did some research back, I think in like high school, something like that. I had the tool, my grandfather had the old tool to
Carry ice. Yeah, to grab ice with
so
the
like
picks.
Two ice picks. I had that and I did a presentation in front of my classroom about that. So I talked a little bit about that. So it worked exactly the same way. Even though we had snow during summer times and all that way, everyone had like kind of a cave where you put the ice blocks over there, so you had to deliver it and have that actual tool to pull out the ice cubes wherever you need them, because those were like
big ice cubes, because the bigger the ice cube, the longer it's going to last.
Exactly.
Now, when you're talking about caves, very interesting, because the beer history has a very big connection with caves. Now, we talked in a past episode about lagers and ales.
Yeah, exactly.
So ales fermented at a higher temperature, lagers a lower temperature. Now, lagers originated mostly, well actually exclusively in Germany for a while, where they would brew their beer in caves and keep it there. So it would ferment at lower temperatures.
In a smaller space.
In a smaller space and lower temperatures.
You weren't wrong about smaller.
Yeah, I was. I really was. I'm not gonna lie.
Smaller number of degrees.
Yeah, it was brain fart. Sorry, Dad. So it was fermented in brain fart.
Fine, yeah, fart.
Is fart fine?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below if fart is fine. So. Where was I? Cellars. Yeah.
Caves. That's where we were.
Caves and cellars. So that's where lagers were fermented. Another way to keep those caves cool, they would actually bring ice in. Now, in the 1800s, they didn't really perfect the refrigerator, but they had started to create the concept. So in 1755, I think was the first template in 1750 something. I don't remember the dates.
We got the numbers. We just pronounced them.
So in the 1700s, late 1700s, people were starting to experiment with different ways to create a refrigerator. Now, nothing was perfected. That's why the icebox was still leading, and that's why Frederick Tudor actually made a lot of money, because there was no way to replace the icebox at that point. Now, cut to a little bit further down. So 1910 was the first time that General Electric created a refrigerator that was commercially accessible. Now, that refrigerator worked with a gas, what would you call those? The
heater.
No.
You said
a gas
pump?
I guess.
Compressor.
No, I forget the word. Anyways, instead of using electricity, you would use gas to be able to power your
generators.
Generator, that's the word.
Okay,
sorry.
perfect.
We've had a couple beers before this.
Yes. Warm-up beers, we call them.
Warm-up beers. Apologize. Anyways, you get the gist.
Keeps it flowing.
It gets it fun for us. It's fun for us. I enjoy myself every time we make a video.
Every time.
Especially when we have a couple warm-up beers.
It breaks the little, kind of like, there's a thin wall before we show up in front of camera, and
I'm completely comfortable right now, which is nice.
Completely. I can't even do this half naked. No.
I'd rather not. It'd be awkward for everyone involved. Yeah. So, where was I?
More in 1910.
General Electric. Now, as you know, you know what you call your fridge, literally your ice box or your refrigerator in the house. You call it a fridge.
A fridge, yeah.
So Frigidaire was the first to commercially use Freon to be able to cool the device they had created, and it also made it safer and also cheaper, so more people started using it. By the time Frigidaire started selling their merchandise, they almost lowered by half the price of those devices, which was interesting in the fact that people started buying it because they could afford it at this point. It went from 254 to about 154.
Wow.
Yeah, so like about $100 less, which is a huge difference for that time.
For something that important back in the day.
It was 1930 by that point. So yeah, it's quite far back. Now, anything else I wanted to mention?
Are you
That's
sure
it.
about that, Max? Are you sure?
Let's look at the notes. No, that's pretty much it
We
now.
did the whole for the old part, like.
You talk about the beer part a little more. I talked about commercial. Like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that
I
point,
know,
people
I
started
know.
putting their beer in the fridges, and
Yeah.
breweries started using the ice and all that stuff. But please.
Yeah. So mostly when you're drinking your beer, you've put those beers in the fridge, but your fridge is at 38 degrees Fahrenheit or around 3 degrees Celsius, which is cold enough for a Coors Light.
Yeah.
This is where things get a
Does
little bit
the Blue Mountain appear at that point?
exactly, man.
Nice, because you know when your marketing angle is how cold your beer is. It's a very quality beer.
But beer is known to taste nothing when it's too cold. Yes, that's the issue. So, what we wanted to talk about more on the refrigerant side, for my part, is how cold should you
Keep your beer.
refrigerate your beer? So, is it?
But it
good
depends
to-
on the beer, don't Chris?
It depends on the beer, but it's really strongly recommended to keep it around 43 degrees Fahrenheit.
So that's
which
about,
is
what,
roughly
6 degrees Celsius?
6 degrees Celsius. Wow. And if you
I'm
can
really
keep
good.
it a little bit higher, it's perfect. And I've read that from a journalist on the Chicago Tribune that was talking about his drinking problem, which is every time he goes to a bar, he orders 2 beers.
Mm-hmm.
One beer to drink right now, but because he doesn't care to drink it too cold, and the other one that he wants to enjoy actually at the right temperature, because he knows that it's going to take probably 20
A couple
to 30
minutes
minutes.
to be able to get to the right temperature.
Exactly.
I've heard that about Guinness. Apparently, if you go to an Irish pub and the owner is kind of an older owner, you order whatever beer you want to drink and a Guinness, and you tell them to keep the Guinness on the counter for half an hour for the length of you finishing your beer.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting concept, I thought, at the time. And I really, really much enjoyed the fact that you brought this up.
Still applicable
Yeah.
because a lot of breweries, they put the degrees on the bottles to recommend. Some of them don't, but I think it's really up to the consumer at that point. But having your beer really too cold, drinking it in a frozen glass, don't do this.
Well, I can see how it would eliminate some flavors, or at least lower some flavors, as especially with stouts, I find that a higher degree will give you more flavorful
Exactly.
flavors, if I can use that, especially for barrel-aged stuff.
Yeah.
So what I found is anything that's barrel-aged in a wine barrel, you will enjoy it a little more if it's a little higher in temperature,
Yeah.
because the wine flavors come out. And when it's cold, you don't feel those flavors at all.
Yeah. Because the science behind this, it's because having a beer too cold will retain those, sorry, I have the right, volatile organic compounds in the beer. So releases the aromas, but when it's cool, it kind of like nurture down those aromas. So before you take your sip, you always smell a little bit of your beer. And having it a little bit warmer than your 38 degrees usual fridge will release those aromas into your nostrils that will go down your throat, and you'll get those aromas tasting first.
Okay.
Then it will enhance the flavors that comes through your mouth. It's part of the process. If you want to truly taste your beer at first, or just try it out at home. Try a beer straight out of the fridge, and then try one that's been sitting for 15 minutes out there.
And
You'll
you
see
will have a lot
the
of
difference.
flavors more in the warmer one. There's going to be a lot more flavors coming
Exactly.
out than the colder one.
Exactly.
But in the end, it's really your choice. If you want the lighter beer, like the
Yeah.
Pilsner or the Lager, to be cold, and you want to refresh yourself on a warm summer day, go for it.
Go for it. And if you can afford a beer fridge, which is the solution, we opted up for at Ups and Bros. We have two beer fridges, and
Soon
they're
to
all-
be 3.
soon to be 3.
Hint, next episode.
And for the next episode, but they're all set up. Max has to keep his food colder,
Yeah, so it's a little bit colder. Yeah, it's about
but
at
mine,
5 degrees.
Yeah, mine
3
is set up
degrees,
to
yeah.
like the middle
Yeah.
of the fridge, maybe closer to 4 or 5. It's
Yeah.
ranging to 6. It's not a super accurate fridge right now, but we're hoping to get a new one soon. So maybe.
Hoping. We'll see. Anyway.
see.
Anything else out on your part?
Not really. I had like a little part on how a fridge works, but I think you guys pretty much knows how it goes from now.
If you want to know how a fridge works,
Put it on the comment below.
Also, put it in the comments below.
we'll just
and
make it happen.
I guess do a second episode on refrigeration.
It's not that
because we
complicated.
are literally at 15 minutes right now.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's-
that was a really
To
interesting
me, those
subject.
are longs. God damn it! Right now, I cannot speak for the life of me. Sorry, Dad. So, anyways, I find 15 minutes long. Although, if you like it, also let us know in the comments below.
So, you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a like on the video. Hit the bell if you want to get a notification every time those new videos goes out. It really helps us just know where our videos are going and who's seeing them, because it's always fun to hear about that.
Definitely, and if you want to buy us a beer, go on Patreon, Hops and Bros, and buy us a beer. Let us know which beer you want us to review, and we'll do our damn darnest best to be able to find it.
Yeah, exactly. So, cheers to you guys, and we want to know you for another 5 minutes, because 15 is too long. Hopefully this one makes 15.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna cut much. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
This was a big episode.
it was a big episode. I rambled on for a while.
That was a good ramble.
It was
That
a
good
big ramble. Yeah.